Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here, and in this 3D Printed Profits episode, I have with us Amber. Amber, say hi.
Hi guys.
Where are you coming from, Amber?
I am from Denver, Colorado.
Denver. Is it snowing in Denver right now?
It is supposed to be snowing tomorrow, and yesterday when it says it wasn't snowing, it was. So
The
any
weather, I
moment, I'm sure.
swear, they can never get that right, ever. Um,
It's an estimate. It's terrible.
all right, so Amber's coming through us with from Colorado, and we're just going to talk about her business, so on and so forth. But before we start, I want to invite everybody to join into the 3D Printing Side Hustle group on Facebook, where we all just kind of share tips, tricks, stuff like that, to help each other grow our businesses, right? Because let's face it, we can't do this all on our own. We need help. There's other people who are better than us at some things. We're better at other people at some things, and we're just there to help each other grow. So make sure you guys join us. The link for that in the description below. And without further ado, Miss Amber, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited.
So let's start off with, how did this all start? Like, how did you get into 3D printing? What's going on?
So not this past year, but 21, we went to Micro Center on Cyber
A
Monday
hundred
because I
dollar
wanted to get,
coupon.
well, almost. We wanted to
No?
buy some smart toys for like my nephew's, well, I guess my grandnephew. And we're walking down the aisle and we saw a sale on the Ender 3 Pro. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's really cool, but what are we going to do? And my husband's like, oh, don't worry, we will find stuff. I'm like, really? He's like, well, you like to bake. I'm like, yeah. He's like, cookie cutters. I'm like, okay, one thing for $200. So we got the $200 printer in our cart. We're buying some filament. And the guy was like, oh my goodness, there's a coupon that they do every now and then. And I'm like, I don't know if we'll ever need two. I kid you not, within 2 days, we're like, okay, where's that damn coupon? So $100 printer.
Uh-huh. There you go.
And now here we are with 15 of those $100 printers.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And then
So you
we
have
ended
15
up
Ender 3s.
15 Ender 3 Pros, um, all modded,
All
because
modded. All right.
you got to do a little something here. And in one of my local Colorado groups, a girl was selling two CR10 Maxes, and I was like, ignorance is
Yeah.
bliss. Hell yeah, two for $1,000. Why not?
Wow, no kidding.
Well, I ended up wheeling and dealing, got them two for 800. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't think, why would you need to do that? They have been a labor of love, but I have two Maxes that are printing fantastic now. My
Was there
husband
anything wrong with
even,
it?
well, the original firmware on it is just terrible.
Mm.
It's
So all
just
you had
one
to
of
do
those
is update the
things.
firmware?
I pretty much updated the firmware, did a couple of little upgrades. I love my PEI plates, but the firmware was really like when you try to like do a little, adjustment on your Z when you're doing the print, and all of a sudden you like hit the button. It was kind of like a placebo effect, like you thought it was moving. It actually never moved your Z. So
Oh.
Z adjustment was not actually working. So once we
Mhm.
updated the firmware, it fixed it, and I was like, it was so awesome. So yeah,
Gotcha,
large
gotcha.
dragons, here we come. I was so excited.
So that brings me to my next question. So what is it that you guys sell?
Well, our Etsy store, we are 99% cookie cutters. Again, I
Okay.
love to bake. We have a 2.5-year-old, so I like making fun little characters like in his sandwiches, and we play with Play-Doh. So I just kind of went to town on cookie cutters. And, our first month on Etsy was last January, so a year now. And we probably did about $200. It was like, oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Um, and I found a couple other cool designs we liked, and so I made a custom little design that a software company really liked, and they bought 300. I was like, oh,
Oh, wow.
and that was in February, and so I'm like, this is really viable. I just thought it was gonna be a fun little side hustle, a couple
Yeah,
hundred extra dollars, put some money away from like a Disney fund or something.
sure.
And yeah, so in February, I was like, okay, this is serious. So just started posting and posting more and more cookie cutters and trying to find other designs. And before I knew it, a friend was like, oh my goodness, I need a cookie cutter. We work at a bakery and we need like a huge one. I'm like, looking at my max,
Define
I can use
huge.
17 inches. Yeah. I can use 17 inches in one print. They're like, that's perfect. So
Oh,
did a 17
wow.
inch.
So
Oh,
they
yeah,
made a
yeah.
17-inch cookie then.
Well, what's really cool, and I didn't know it, and it literally just aired this last holiday season. They were on a cooking bake-off on Food Network.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right. It was the Great Bake Challenge, and they ended up using this giant skull and crossbones as one of the little side challenges. And I was like watching it. And I'm like, oh, there's Jason. There's his bakery. There's my cookie cutter. So I
That
was
is
super
so
excited.
cool.
Yeah, it was so wicked awesome. But I was like, who needs 17-inch cookie cutter?
Jason does.
Jason did. Yeah, absolutely.
There you
And
go.
they're out of Baltimore, which is it's so funny. I've lived all over the country, and I have friends on Facebook from all over the country, and they're like, "Oh, well, Amber has a printer, so here we are, printing
Nice.
stuff
That is
for a
so
lot of
cool.
local bakeries." Oh, it was so awesome. I'm
So
still on like
cookie
cloud nine
cutters.
about
So
it.
so do you specifically sell a specific character for your cookie cutters, or is it just kind of like I sell cookie cutters and I can design whatever it is that you guys want me to make?
A little bit of A, a little bit of B.
Okay.
So we end up creating a separate website because Etsy is not a big fan of IP infringement. And when you go on Etsy and you search like Pokemon, you're like, oh my goodness, there's 5,000 listings of Pokemon. Apparently it's not, and if you're gonna get caught, it's a when. I just figured,
Hmm.
okay, cool. It's like fan art. They don't have cookie cutters that they sell, so I was making a whole bunch of like Pokemon. Star Trek was really huge. And we figured out that, hey, there's actually a lawyer for these companies that goes through and hey, deactivate your listings. Like, hey, we own this trademark, you can't do that. And I was like, oh no. But it's fan art
Gotcha.
inspired. Well, fan art inspired is not a get out of jail free card. So I learned a lot about trademarks and IP infringement. So our Etsy store is just designs that we've created. People ask for things. If someone asks for like Marge Simpson, hey, I'll do a custom one for you, send it to you. I'm not putting it on my Etsy store because that's just not, But we created a website so we can have a
Yeah, because
lot
it's
of the
on your
fan
own
art inspired
platform.
stuff. Exactly. So we're not going to have someone else like, hey, you can't do this. So we have our own dedicated website for that as well. And then
We'll
I
link that in
also,
the description below for you cookie
oh,
nerds.
thank you. But we also are starting to put them on cults as well. And I have STL files available on Etsy. They will be available on our website, but I feel like cults is a little more viable because people can find it a little bit easier.
Hmm.
But yeah, definitely, I was amazed. Like I'm a big Star Trek fan, so it was so excited when people are,
You're a
wanting some next
Trekkie?
generation logos. Oh hell yeah,
Dude, there's
why not?
no way anyone would think you're a Trekkie just by looking at you. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, she makes." When you say cookie cutters, yeah, oh yeah, Amber definitely makes cookie cutters. But when you say
Yeah,
Trekkie, like, wait, what? That's
I
so
know, I
crazy.
know. Well, my husband cracked up. He's like, "Oh, the Star Wars fans." I'm like, "Thanks," because it likes to mock me and my fun little things that I love. Like I'm so obsessed with Willow right now. I can't even tell you.
We just saw the trailer for that last night. My wife goes, "Oh, what is this?" And I go, "Willow." It's like a 1980s movie.
It's amazing. Not even gonna go into it. I'm very excited. I
The
need the
80s was
next
40
episode.
years ago, by the way. Just I'm gonna throw that out there. The 80s was 40 years ago, guys. All right. The 90s was
Yes.
30 years ago. Just throw that out there. Anyway, so back to the business part. So the initial investment on the machine was, let's just say $200 because you didn't have the coupon, but you guys ended up getting that coupon, and now you're at how many machines are you up to now?
So we're up to 15 enders and 2 maxes,
Okay, so you're at
and then
17
three
machines.
resin. But that's a whole different.
Oh, so you're at 20 machines.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And how much is the business making now in terms of profit, not revenue, profit?
Profitable. I mean, because the cost of printing is very inexpensive.
Mhm.
We put together a spreadsheet calculating electricity. We are actually in a local store, so we have that rent calculated in there. But I mean, profitability. You're looking at least 85% profit on almost everything that you print. We don't. You see a lot of people like on Etsy. You get these Patreons. Someone prints a dragon, like, "Hey, here you go. I can print it for $12," and it's like this big. And I'm like, dude, that's like a 25-hour print. Like you're
Right.
you're losing money. I
He's
mean, yes,
basically
the
making a
filament.
dollar from each one.
Right,
It's
right.
it's terrible business sense. It's
Yeah.
absolutely asinine. It drives
Oh, I
me
know.
nuts.
Oh, dude, you lowball yourself. You're paying way too much to Etsy and fees, and then you get nothing.
And
So I mean,
Etsy fees just keep growing.
I know. I don't even get me started. But I mean, profitability wise, I mean, like this last Christmas, it was our first Christmas. We definitely take home on that. The profit, it was probably close to 3,200
Nice.
for the month of December. So I mean, that's huge. So, we started in January. Our profit on that was, after fees and everything, about $180.
Hmm.
Now here we are, 12 months later, and we're looking at 3,200. Now, obviously, December is a huge, huge push, but
Right.
already we're halfway through January, and we're definitely close to $1,000
So would you
in a
say
slow month.
would you say $2,000 a month would be a good average for you guys?
Yes, that is definitely what we've worked up to.
Okay, so two
It's
thousand dollars a
crazy.
month, that that's a pretty healthy side hustle there. Um,
Yeah.
I know that's a good mortgage payment, right?
Yes.
If
In
someone
this
told
market,
you,
not
hey,
really, but yeah.
yeah, all right, I'm in Sacramento. There's you get a toilet for that.
Oh,
So if someone said, hey, would you do this and your mortgage is paid for free? Would you do it? You know what I mean? Like if you think of it in those kinds of terms, you're like, oh wow, yeah, a free house, absolutely.
yeah.
And so congratulations, you guys. That's phenomenal. From cookie cutters, and I love cookies. Cookies are my jam. I don't like
Me
hard
too.
candy. I don't like Jolly Ranchers. I don't like, I know, unpopular opinion. I don't like Jolly Ranchers. I don't like any hard candy, but chocolate and cookies. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right. So
unfortunately, I got a gelato maker too. So now we have cookies with gelato, and that's just,
dang. Even my wife
yeah.
next to me was like, oh, cookies and gelato.
Okay.
Okay, okay, that's what we're going for lunch, honey. So so what filament do you guys use for this? Is there a special filament that you guys use for the cookie cutters?
For our filament for cookie cutters, we wanted a signature color. We went with Hatchbox. Um,
So
Print's
you guys have a
fantastic.
signature color. So all your cookie cutters come
Mhm.
in the same color.
Yes, they all come in the
Okay.
same color. Now we did have some issues with production at the beginning of last year because we picked a signature color, and then by the time we went to order another box of 10, it was out. So we changed a smidge off, and now we're back to just the original mint
Okay.
color because I feel like a good standard kind of helps with marketing.
I agree. I agree. The look really it says a lot. Right. It
Yeah,
goes into the whole branding thing. And we can do a whole episode on branding just on that alone. We can be here for hours on
yeah.
that. Um, so is it a custom thing from Hatchbox that is only for you guys, or is that like Hatchbox one of Hatchbox's colors?
It's one of their standard colors.
Okay.
I wish I could be like, hey, we're big enough. Can you all just make me this color? When we get there, I will hit you up and be like, we made it. But
Um, we can talk offline. I know how you can get your own color.
oh, cool.
I know how to
That'd be
get your own
awesome.
color because I have my own color. I have two.
Ooh,
So we'll talk offline. All right.
perfect.
Um, so does Hatchbox give you a discount for your book because you're in a subscription at this point, right? Do they give you a discount because you're in a subscription based model plus you're ordering large quantities from them so they can expect that business from you?
Yeah, we actually signed up for a wholesale account.
Oh,
And
great.
we're buying it wholesale at this point. And again, I love their filament. It's just awesome, just in general.
Sweet. Um, and earlier you touched on the models. Uh, do you design these yourself?
Yeah, I started off, I knew nothing about CAD programs, back in high school, more than 20 years ago. It was one of some of the first like Novell networking classes, and oh, we're doing Photoshop, and it was all like kind of new in my school. Yes, I'm that old. And so I know a lot about painting things and like kind of doing that kind of design, but nothing about CAD. So, we started off with just finding a program that would actually help me make it myself. So I found cookiecad.com. Awesome site, guys, if you ever want to
I'm
make
sorry,
your own
say that
cookie
again. Cookie
cutter.
CAD?
Cookiecad.com. They actually make amazing filament too. A little pricey,
I didn't know
but
that
it's
existed.
gorgeous.
See, this is why I
Oh
have this podcast because you'll learn so much. Cookie CAD.
Oh yeah, cookie cat. So like if you don't have the patience to make something, and I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of women in printing groups, which is awesome, and someone gets really frustrated, I'm like, take a moment, go to the site, print it, and then let's go through a Fusion 360 tutorial.
So
But so I
can
started
you
off with
design on Cookie CAD?
you can import any image that you want. So you can hand draw something, upload it, and it'll make it.
So if your child, say your
Mhm.
child said, you told your kid, hey, make me a dinosaur. He draws a dinosaur, right? You upload it. You can make a cookie cutter out of that drawing.
Oh yeah. You can make it out of that drawing. You can do an imprint with it. You can do a stamp. I
I want
love the
everybody to
stamps for
just take what
Play-Doh.
I just said. Okay. That's a hint.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a hint. And customization pays a lot. Just
It
say.
does. It
All right. So
definitely does.
cookiecad.com. You can
Cookie
make
Cat is
your
where
own
we started.
stamps, cookie cutters, whatever it is from
Mhm.
any photo.
Right.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And then
So,
I did learn Fusion 360 so we can actually
okay,
do a lot more customizations, a lot more like custom names, things that are just company logos. It's a lot easier going to Fusion, trace a bitmap, upload it, extrude it, and here you go. But again, that was something we had to learn. Ignorance is
gotcha.
bliss, I'll tell you that much. Like, cool.
So,
This looks easy.
and you also sell your STL files, correct?
Correct.
All right, and you sell that on Cults.
We're starting to get them all in colds. I will tell you, when you first start off, you're like, oh, this is so simple. I'm kind of organized. We figured out when I was transitioning from STLs on Etsy to putting them on Cults that okay, where's the photo for this one? Where's this file? Then you have to zip them, and it's a big to do. So I have spent my Christmas vacation organizing photos to link to exactly what the STL file is. That way I can start uploading, and I'm uploading a couple a day. And I was actually amazed at how many STL files we're selling on Etsy. It's
So
kind of neat.
how many files are you selling on Cults now?
We have about 15 on there. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, I'll have about 50. I
Oh
have
wow.
300 that we got to get on there.
So there's three,
Um,
you personally have 300 STL files,
yes,
and that
yes.
is all cookie cutters.
And that's just the cookie cutters. We've actually been inspired to do other things. I love my Nintendo Switch. There's an awesome Hollow Props out there. If you guys have never checked out the Patreon, it's amazing. He made some gorgeous like crystals for a Switch. I'm like, this is
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I've seen
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. I actually got it was so funny. I got Make of the Week with that. When I posted it on there, I'm
Look
like,
at
this is
you.
amazing. So Colts did Make of the Week. I'm like, this is a thing. So we went and created a custom mushroom one because I'm in a lot of gardening groups. Got to tell you, the
There you
mushrooms are a
go.
big thing. So we're gonna have that one up hopefully by the end of today. I'm gonna take all my photos now that it's sunny outside. I can do
There
that.
you go.
No
There you
snow.
go. Man, that's really cool. You must have been designing like damn near every day for you to get to 300 in just a year.
Yes. Well, and you start to lose ideas. You're like, okay, what do I need to do? My husband's like, well, you don't have any basic shapes. I'm like, someone gonna buy yeah, they do. We do basic shape packages on Etsy. I probably sell 20 to 30 of them a month, for
Wow.
15 to $35 depending on the size. And I even do custom sizes. Someone will be like, hey, I need like a 12-inch and this, and I
So
send it to them.
so your schedule must be on point for you to have a day job, your husband have a day job, and running this business because this is full-time income
I mean, with the 2.5-year-old.
with a 2.5-year-old.
Yes.
Wow. Well,
It's busy. Oh, we have a
congratulations.
Chihuahua too, but luckily he's a little low maintenance.
Yeah, I have a German Shepherd. You want to trade?
No.
Man, this is really cool. So I'm really interested to take a look at cookiecat.com. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Um, definitely looking that up. All right.
Yeah,
So when you
it was
first
fabulous.
started, I'm sorry, say that again.
I said it was definitely a fabulous find.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. All right. So when you first started, what struggles did you have and how did you get over that?
Some of the opportunities were, what do we make? What will people like? What do people want to buy? And with cookie cutters, it was almost kind of easy because I'm like, okay, what are some of the basic shapes you see all the time at Michael's, but you kind of want more. We did a lot of shopping because I know my husband is a big Michael's and Joanne's fan.
Love me some
So
Michaels, man.
we love it, but when you're shopping with a 2-year-old, it's a whole new world
Oh
of just
yeah.
like chaos. Yeah. But we did a lot of like, shopping around trying to figure out what was going to sell. I'm like, okay, well, I
This is
like
called
these, but
market research, guys. Just
yes,
this is called market research. A lot
market
of you
research is
don't
key.
nearly do enough of this market research. Okay, back
Yeah.
to your regularly scheduled program.
Yes. So we found, we have all these things we want, but well, what if we did this kind of thing? And what if we did that? I went into Party City and I was like, okay, well, what's popular right now for kids' birthday parties? And, I took note and there's some things I'm like, wow, that's there. Okay, cool. But I still make a cookie cutter out of it because it's potential. Just
Mhm.
because it's not my jam doesn't mean it's not their jam. I was a retail store manager for 25 years. I'm not shopping with my pocket. I'm shopping with yours. So what does your pocket want? And that's definitely the route that we went. And it was a huge obstacle like the first month because, the first 50 designs, I'm like, cool, I got it. And the next 50 were like, oh man. And that's where the market research really came from.
Man. Okay, that was like bombs that Amber just dropped, you guys. bombs. That is like one of the best advice that I've heard on this show. She's not shopping with her pocket, she's shopping with her customers. So you have to think in the customer's frame of mind and not hers. Because, yeah, she'll buy it, but she's not trying to buy from herself. She's trying to have you buy from her. So always think of the customer's mindset.
No,
Awesome. Awesome.
absolutely.
So,
And
how
then
did you
when
get
we,
your? I'm sorry, say it again.
I was gonna say when we physically got into a local store here, it was a whole different, thing because we were like, oh, cookie cutters, people will love this. Then we put a couple little toys in. I actually, contacted an awesome designer. He's like, hey, I know you have a lot of people selling your internet. Can we just try maybe just a physical contract? He thought it was a brilliant idea. And so I put a couple toys in to kind of cater to kids because there weren't really that in the store. So cookie cutters, a couple of toys. It was great. Toys flew off the shelves, and the cookie cutters were kind of like, hey, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, again, we had to start doing more research. What do people want to buy physically in a store?
So tell me more about that. How did you find this store? First of all, what kind of store is it? And how did you find this store where you can, do kind of like a consignment?
So they are a local maker store. They're here in Colorado. There's a store in Parker, and there's one over just down the street from us here. And they are really just local artists or makers. So they sell wine. They sell like $150 amazing cutting boards, and then they sell my cookie cutters along with some fun toys. And they're kind of local people like to shop it, but tourists like to. It's kind of like that happy in between, which is awesome. But everything's made here and designed here in Colorado, which is great. And I found it. A good friend of mine, she actually has product in that store. She does amazing work with like hand towels. She's got this great embroidery business going on, and she's like, "Girl, I love all your stuff. You need to get this in front of more people." I'm like, "Well, I don't know how to do that." She's like, "Hold on a second." And so it was kind of like, "Here, hold my beer. Let me help you." And she put me in touch with one of the managers there. I went and talked to him for about a good, hour and a half because I'm a talker. And yeah, within 2 weeks, we were printed up and in the store.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So you have an online shop, you
Hmm.
sell STL files, and you have your products in a consignment. The last thing you really need to get this is a prototype, and I think you nailed the big parts of 3D printing.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And
Um,
I mean, honestly, the STL files are that passive income that's kind of like no effort.
love that.
And
I love
that's
that.
that's
That's
the
the
goal
best.
of getting more of those,
I put I went triple overtime on that. I just went like, we're gonna go this. And I absolutely love it.
Oh, it's worth every minute you put in there for like, every dollar I get on a cookie cutter, that's time I didn't have to do anything. It's amazing.
Right, exactly. You don't have to buy the filament, you don't have to package it, ship it, all that stuff. Um, which brings me to shameless plug. If you guys want to learn how to 3D model for 3D printing specifically, there is a 1 hour workshop that I do for free. The link for that is in the description below. Um, again, totally free. If you guys like it, you know, check it out down there. Um, so what's working today in terms of marketing? How are you growing this thing? Like, how are you getting to reach more people so your revenue increases?
Yeah, that's a daily struggle. I am terrible at social media personally. It's just never been my bag, but my husband's really helping me. He's really working on our Twitter, which we still need to get better at, but it's really trying to get more and more social media presence. Picked up a couple of things on Amazon last week that will be delivered this week, so that way we can start working on better content. You see a lot of things listed on Etsy, even the Facebook Marketplace, as seen on TikTok. I'm old, I'm not on TikTok, but we're
I
gonna
don't
get
think we're
there.
old, Amber. You can't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that so loud. I don't think we're old.
Sometimes I feel old because my niece is like, "Oh my goodness, you see this on TikTok?" I'm like, "Cool." I downloaded it. We're getting there. It's just there's just not enough time of the day. It's not necessarily that we're old. It's just that we're occupied with other things aside
I
from
agree.
social media. So I
Um,
think for us to get more out there, we need more of it.
TikTok was one of those things for me that I was like, oh God, I don't want to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't really care for it. And
Yeah,
I was talking to Uncle Jesse on the phone. I'm sure you guys know who that guy is. Shout out, Uncle Jesse.
he's amazing.
He's yes. And he said, dude, you got to get on TikTok. I said, dude, I can't. It's just not my jam. And then finally I said, you know what? Screw it. Fine. I'm going to do it. And now it became part of my social media presence going into TikTok. I finally found my groove and what kind of videos that they like. I went viral for the first time 2 weeks ago and went
Oh,
viral again.
congrats.
I wouldn't call 50,000 views viral. To me, that's viral. It's like, oh my God, that's a lot, right? But really, it's not. It's really not. 50,000 views
I
isn't
mean,
that,
it's not Uncle Jesse numbers, but that's still huge.
right? Uncle Jesse's like, bro, I
Yeah,
get that in an hour. Keep
I know.
up.
He was like, I do
You know what
that
I
on
mean?
accident.
That's my dude, man.
Yeah.
Um, so you know what, Amber, that's really it from me. Is there anything that you want to impart to anyone? Like, what are your tips for anyone who wants to start their own 3D printing side hustle?
My biggest tip is when you get your printer, don't just jump in too deep. Like, oh my goodness, I need to do all these modifications. I need to do this. Know your printer, know your craft. It's like anything you ever start. Get good quality, feel comfortable in what you're doing, and then start to grow. You don't want to just jump in, get a printer, and be like, oh, well, this guy on this show, Uncle Jesse has all these things. He knows what he's
Yeah.
doing, and that's, it's even like, watching these Twitch guys doing amazing streams, and they're really good at, first person shooters. Okay, I'm not going to jump in and play like, Dr. Disrespect here. I got to learn my own way to do it. And that's
Hmm.
the same thing with creating your files. And I mean, at the end of the day, do things that interest you. If you're starting to do things that you don't care about, if you don't like cookies, you don't like sweets, why are you making them? And that's, find something that you like, start there, and then if you want to branch out in other things, go for it. But find something that's near and dear to your heart first, because I think if you have more passion about it and you personally use them, then you'll go a lot farther than making light switch holders. I, I don't know. I don't know anyone that sells a ton of, like, light switch decor. But hey, if you're really into that, make them.
There you go.
Find a
All
market
right.
you're passionate about. That's it.
There you go. There you go. Follow your passion. Make sure you guys start slow because if you don't, you'll hate it, right? It's like anything. You got to put in your hours. You got to put in
Yeah.
your time. You got to do the work with anything, whether it's business, whether it's design, whether it's learning your machine, whether it's basketball, martial arts, baking, right? I can't bake for the life of me. It's just it's one of those things that you have to you got to put your time in. So I think I just lost Amber. Oh no.